Hello and welcome to Unboxed, the SRF Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Busse, Multimedia Manager here at SRF Consulting Group. At SRF, we like to say that we create lasting solutions to strengthen communities. But many of the communities we serve are facing challenges, and one of the most difficult is homelessness. Today we're talking with our President and CEO, Todd Polum, and Kelly Matter, the President and CEO of Avivo, which serves more than 11,000 homeless individuals each year, helping them achieve recovery, find housing stability, and achieve employment and economic advancement. We're going to talk about Avivo's holistic approach to addressing homelessness by providing services that embrace each person's unique journey, including their unique Avivo Village tiny home communities. We'll talk about why addressing this issue is critical for growing healthy and vibrant communities, and we'll talk about what you can do to help. So stay tuned. Welcome to the studio, Todd and Kelly. I'm really excited to have you both here. Let's do a round of introductions. Todd, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Todd Polum, President and CEO of SRF Consulting Group. I have been with SRF since 2001. I am a civil engineer by education and practice, and proud parent of 4 kids with my lovely wife, Therese.
Great. Welcome. Kelly?
Thanks for the invite, Nick. I really appreciate it. I'm Kelly Matter. I'm the President and CEO of Avivo, where I've been for the last 14 years. Prior to that, I've spent about 40 years in this field working for other amazing organizations, Goodwill Easter Seals and Common Bond communities.
That's great. And maybe to kind of frame up our discussion, I'll just ask Todd, can you talk a little bit about what we're doing here today? How did you get involved in Avivo? We're going to talk about homelessness. Why is that an important issue to you? And maybe kind of how you think of it in relation to what SRF does.
Absolutely. Back in 2001, before I moved here and I was considering my job options, I remember driving past downtown Minneapolis. And there were cranes across the skyline. And as I got more familiar with Minneapolis, there was a vibrancy to the community. And that stuck with me. That's something that's very important to me as a leader of a company, as a resident in the Twin Cities area. But part of that vibrancy is not only having a healthy business community, but also having a healthy community overall. And when we have people that are struggling and living on the streets, that does not reflect a healthy community. And so that's always been in the back of my mind. I learned about an opportunity where Avivo was looking for a few new board members. And so that's where I found a good opportunity for me to get involved, to get educated, and to learn more about the organization. A phrase I like to use about Avivo is they really do have teach a person to fish mentality. Is they want to help, they want to get people off the streets, help them recover in ways that they need, help them educated, and help get them employed. And that really resonates with me. And so a couple of years ago, I joined the board and have found fun and creative ways to get involved and help and assist.
Great. Well, Kelly, I know that Avivo works to end homelessness, but you do a lot more than that. So can you kind of give us an overview of Avivo and the services you provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So Avivo's mission is to enhance well-being through recovery and career advancement while working to end homelessness. So we provide a comprehensive array of services that look at the whole person, not just the particular issue. So we provide services for, helping people move from being unsheltered to shelter, to permanent housing. We have a substance use and mental health treatment and recovery programming. We're a licensed post-secondary school, so we do short-term skills training to help people prepare for jobs that are available in this current labor market, and that's changing based on our labor market, giving people the credentials and tools to get a higher paying job, moving from poverty. And then we help about 3,000 people go to work every year, people that have been unemployed or very underemployed as well. And then we wrap those core services, with the other things that make a difference: food, clothing, other support services. We partner with hundreds of organizations to bring in, physical health care and other services so that we are focused on the whole person and helping people move from surviving to thriving and sustainability.
So what does that look like in practice? So can you maybe walk us through the journey of somebody who an Avivo representative reaches out to them, meets them on the street? How do you begin to help somebody?
Yeah, absolutely. The first way we start helping people is by developing a relationship. Just like any of us, we like where we work because of the relationships that we have. We meet people who are sleeping outside. Many times people have been outside for a decade or years. And at first is just that relationship establishing relationship, no judgment, establishing trust, understanding why a person is outside and then helping them take those next best steps. And that is, many times it is moving inside, moving into Avivo Village or another shelter that best meets their needs. A person's not going to be successful in recovery or employment if if they don't have a home, a place that they can call home.
Right. You mentioned the Avivo Villages. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I feel like that's a pretty unique solution. And maybe I'm wondering too, like, who's the ideal candidate for living in one of those? Yeah.
Avivo Village is unique. I believe that we were the first in the country to develop an indoor tiny home village. It's a very low barrier shelter. So the best person or who Avivo serves and wants to serve at Avivo Village is individuals that have the greatest barriers to moving inside. So it's low barrier. Really, the only criteria to move inside of Avivo Village is that you have been sleeping unsheltered. So that means outside or another place, not meant for human habitation.
Maybe Nick, if I could just add to that.
Yeah.
Something that, again, I learned and got educated about is when Kelly says low barrier and when she says meeting people where they're at, that is truly what's happening at Avivo. There is no judgment. There are people that are still struggling with things. And the biggest thing about Avivo Village is not only providing a roof over the head, but the safety and the assistance to help them in any way that they can is very important. And of course, there's an end goal to get them to recover, but to have them in a safe and warm environment is very critical. And that really speaks to human dignity that is so important and a real foundation to Avivo.
Absolutely. I know we talked about SRF's values and how they fit with Avivo and Todd joining the Avivo board. We have 3 core values, and one of those is providing a radical welcome, no matter how you come to us, whether you're a board member walking in the door or you're someone who's been sleeping outside coming through the Avivo door. We want and will provide you a radical welcome. Secondly is just a deep belief in human dignity. We believe in human dignity for every human that we come across. And then the third value is leaning into curiosity so that we keep learning and growing. And we learn every day. We're opening Avivo Village in St. Cloud. We learn many, things from Avivo Village in the North Loop that we're incorporating in St. Cloud. We learn, just from every human we interact with, we learn more and more.
I'm curious about your background. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this line of work and how you kind of formed your ideas that you bring to work every day?
Certainly. I've been doing it a long time. As I said, I've been doing this type of work for about 40 years. So my educational background is in vocational rehabilitation. So it is, I am one of those rare people, I guess, Todd, too. You're a civil engineer. You're still in this space, but I am still in the space of connecting people with disabilities, people with barriers, taking those next best steps. So I spent 20 years at Goodwill Easter Seals, focusing on employment programs, ending homelessness programs. That's where my focus on the career training area as well developed while I was there, developed training programs with Target stores, with Valvoline Instant Oil and other kind of 5 of the banks in the metro area. So people got real skills to do real jobs and they could, kind of enhance their quality of living. So I worked there for 20 years and then I went to Common Bond Communities. They're the largest developer of affordable housing in the upper Midwest. And they provide services for, from young kids to seniors that are their housing to help them be successful in housing. And then I've been at Avivo for 14 years. It is, I don't want to say it's my dream job, but Avivo brings all of the pieces together. What I was talking about earlier, that whole person focus. And I'm so biased, but I just don't think there's another organization having the kind of impact that we're having by being able to provide that whole person focus and, and really wrap people in services to be successful.
Right. How do you think we're doing on this issue today? I know homelessness has been an ongoing issue for many, many years, and it's obviously a very complex problem. In general, do you think things are getting better? Are they getting worse? And a follow-up question would be, what do we need to do to have like a long-term solution?
Mm-hmm. Well, I talked about Avivo's core values. I will say that one of the tenets at Avivo is chronic optimism. So, so I am always, I am going to believe, and I do believe that things are getting better and they can't get better. And do we have ups and downs? We absolutely have ups and downs because of, all of the things going on in and around us and in our community. So, opening an Avivo Village, a low barrier shelter is a way to address homelessness in a way that we never have before. And I shouldn't say it like this, but Avivo Village has raised the bar for others that are providing shelter as well. I think we have never run across a person that chooses to sleep outside, though you probably heard that people just don't want to move inside. It's just not true, but there's reasons people don't want to move inside. And I think by, the low barrier approach, we talk about people, pets, and possessions. I think, Todd's married. If you and Therese were sleeping outside and there was a men's shelter opening for you to go in, but you leave Therese on the street.
That wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't happen.
That wouldn't happen. That's right.
That's a reason why people would choose not to move inside. Or pets. I think we may have pets that greet us when we come home, but if you're sleeping outside, a pet is more than a companion. It also keeps you safe at night because it's not necessarily safe sleeping outside in the street. So if you can't bring your pet in and you don't know if you're going to be successful in that shelter, you're not going to move in. And then the third is possessions. I think people have very few things, but sometimes it is their tent and their sleeping bag and their winter gear. And if you have to give that all up to move inside, again, you don't know if it's going to be successful inside. If you're going to be successful for a variety of reasons, it might be who else might be living there, et cetera, et cetera. So by reducing those barriers and more of us in this work, reducing those barriers, it gets more people in from sleeping outside. So that's a long answer to your question. And I think in order to keep moving the dial, it is about, affordable housing, deeply affordable housing. I think individuals that are working in the service industry, individuals with, multiple disabilities, barriers, someone that might have to live on Social Security income, we need deeply affordable housing in our community. And you need to be permanently housed to keep taking those next best steps that we're talking about, recovery, employment.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so I know this is a big question, but then what would that mean to get more affordable housing? Or is that, upzoning? Is it more public funding for public housing or things like that? Or I don't know if you want to get into that whole discussion.
Yeah, I'll give you the short and simple answer, but yes, it is. It is public funding for housing and services. Deeply affordable rents. I think the area median income affordable housing is where most employees that work at Avivo could afford to live. But if you're moving from homelessness to housing to keep, moving that dial on the next best thing, we need deeply affordable housing.
Well, that makes me wonder how recent events have affected the homeless situation in Minneapolis and elsewhere. We've had lots going on with federal cuts to various, programs, and then we've had the metro surge, the ICE surge here in Minneapolis, and I imagine all of that kind of thing has to impact the homeless population, right?
Absolutely, it does. I think any of those types of things are going to impact people with the greatest barriers first. So people who have already been struggling, deeply impacted, are struggling even more. Makes it that much harder to keep taking those next best steps.
Right.
And I think it goes for organizations like ours as well, not-for-profits that have a thin or no margin. This type of, activity, chaos makes it harder for organizations supporting people who are struggling as well.
Yeah. I mean, Nick, you mentioned the budget cuts is also a reality. And we see that at Avivo at the federal, state, and local levels. And but we still have to maintain the operation and there's still people to help. So it's a different challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's turn the conversation around and think about a brighter future where we've made a lot of progress on this. And I'm wondering, what would that mean for the community? You touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but if we really sort of start getting a handle on this issue, that would benefit not just the people who are on the street, but it would benefit the whole community. And so what do you think that would look like?
I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah. You teed it up nicely, Nick. It is getting people off the street. And when we talk about human dignity, it's what that means, what I think it means. I'm not an expert in this by any means, but that they have self-value and self-worth. And when they are able to contribute to society in a meaningful and valuable way to them, that means we have more people contributing to society. And that makes for a better and a more vibrant community that I talked about earlier. And so that's my hope, is that we look to end homelessness and get people not only recovered and housed, but becoming a contributor to society in a meaningful way that brings benefit to the society, but even more importantly to them as an individual.
Yeah. Avivo serves 11,000 people a year. Just like I said, we haven't met anyone that wants to be sleeping outside. Every single person that we serve is seeking a better life for themselves and many times for their children as well. And so that is, continuing to take those next best steps, moving from surviving to thriving, whatever that looks like for them. And it makes economic sense as well. The more people that we have working and thriving, programs like Avivo Village that we've been talking about, it makes good economic sense. We are saving the hospital emergency department system. We are saving the justice system. We are saving public safety systems, and a person is in a dignified private space that allows them to keep taking those next steps and contributing, because every human wants to contribute.
Well, let's talk about what people can do to get involved.
So one of the best ways to find out more, I'll share, but is to go to our website, our www.avivomn.org. And we have all kinds of options on there for volunteering, whether you want to do a group event through your work or a one-time volunteer, or if you want to volunteer over time, there's lots of opportunities. Of course, organizations do need donations. And that, it's not just financial donations. There are ways, we always have a kit of the month, if you will. And I think this month it's cleaning kits for individuals who we help move into permanent housing. So, you get a new apartment and you need to clean. So it's you can donate a kit with cleaning supplies and toilet paper, broom, mop, etc. We have new baby kits, et cetera, et cetera. So many ways to donate financially and or otherwise, time, talent, and treasure, as they say. I think we probably have close to 500 volunteers that support our mission every single year.
Great.
Yes, and SRF has been a great volunteer, have participated. We have an Adopt a Family program at the holidays, serving and supporting our families who Christmas or holiday season is made brighter through support of volunteers.
So Todd, SRF is obviously big on our values. Our company values are integrity, solutions, and community. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to support organizations like Avivo and how it relates to SRF's values?
Absolutely. I mean, the obvious one is community. I mean, we as professionals in the public and private infrastructure, we are very fortunate to have good jobs and to know the value we're bringing to communities through infrastructure and enhancing people's daily lives. And so there is a sense of wanting to give back and wanting to do more. And the whole sense of community, which I've elaborated on before about vibrancy and self-worth and things of that nature, that is paramount to why we're assisting Avivo. And we do it, Kelly mentioned during the holidays that we've assisted, we've provided some financial support as well. And we do little things. We have a wonderful space in our headquarters here, and Kelly and her team are here once a quarter to hold their management meetings. And that's not a big thing, but it's a cost that Avivo does not need to expend.
Yeah, it absolutely saves us money.
Or spend time trying to find a space. And of course, just assisting on the board and bringing a different perspective to it. Sometimes I feel a little out of place because there's medical professionals and there's financial people. But I look for my own ways to contribute. There's projects that Avivo's doing. Kelly referred to the Avivo Village in St. Cloud that's going on right now. We were just chatting about that. So I think it's important, when we talk, going back to our values, community, integrity, and integrity is just, not just operating, with honesty and truth, but, what is our moral responsibility to our communities, and solutions, just sometimes finding creative ways to do some different things that we have overlapping services like, hey, Kelly, do you want to join a podcast and talk about Avivo? So there's different opportunities in different ways that SRF contributes directly. There's been not only as a company, but individuals at SRF as well. I think the other thing is we've referenced employment a little bit, throughout the podcast. Avivo has training programs and ways to hire the folks from Avivo through internships or permanent methodologies, services like HVAC and IT. There's administration. There's a few others. But that's something else that we continue to explore to find ways to help out in that manner. And you didn't ask for a call to action, but I do think that is a way for people to get involved, not just volunteering or donating, but also if you're in the business community, reach out to Avivo. Find out how their programs and where you can get talent for people that really want to work and really want to make a career for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a business partnership council that is made up of, we have about 100, businesses that are members of our business partnership council. And the council is responsible for ensuring that our skills training programs are relevant, that we're training for jobs that are available in the economy, and that we're not just off training people for jobs that aren't available. So they keep us relevant. They do mock interviews to make sure our graduates are prepared to get the job that they've been trained for. We hold job fairs and reverse job fairs, and our businesses are very involved in that. Great. And I think I'll just say, Todd joined the board, and as you know, board have a fiduciary and a strategic responsibility. And Todd has been excellent kind of on that fiduciary side as Avivo's been through our ups and downs, but then asking the strategic questions, just helping us be better by thinking, making sure we're thinking strategically.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, is there anything I haven't asked or anything you'd want people to know about either Avivo or the work that you're doing that we haven't touched on yet?
I think it is that understanding, and it's, we don't have a simple elevator speech because we don't do just the one thing, but it is that's what makes Avivo unique and special and has impact, is that kind of whole person, multiple issue focus that we do, because it is hard it's comprehensive and complex.
Yeah. I mean, it strikes me that that's probably what's needed. I mean, it seems like every person has probably a unique story of how they ended up on the street. And so it's.
I would just offer, and as I was chatting with Kelly and Dan about joining the board, one thing became very clear to me and has been reinforced ever since is that the passion that Kelly brings to the various issues, I won't say the issue,
Right.
the various issues that exist, and the optimism that we can make a difference. And that starts with leadership, and it permeates throughout the entire organization. And I always just am so impressed with with Kelly and the team and the staff and the people that, I'm not sure graduate's the right word, but the people that come out of the organization, and for them to tell their stories at different events and for them to want to give back as well is really the successes and the stories that we try to multiply and try to create as we continue to move forward.
Yeah. And maybe I'll just share a quick story.
Please.
Kind of as we end. It made me think of, we just had our Night of Champions event, which is our kind of annual gala, if you will. And Linda was courageous enough to share her story. And so she graduated from our substance use and mental health treatment program 14 years ago. And she shared her story up until that point where she had not had success. She had been through multiple treatment programs. She had, lost her children. She went to our family treatment program, was able to reunite with her children, graduate from treatment. She graduated from one of Avivo's career training programs. And now she is working actually in this field. She's an intake coordinator for another substance use treatment program. She just rocks it because she can talk to people. Plus she's got the technology skills to kind of do all of that upfront work. And she owns her own home. She is a grandmother now, and, she's, her grandkids are experiencing something different than her kids did. She, in her words, and she's just, she's proud to be able, to be with her kids, to be a grandma, to own her own home that her grandkids can come to. And when she started at Avivo 14 years ago, she was experiencing homelessness, really, really struggling with substance use. And she's
That's
thriving.
amazing.
So
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. And I think it's amazing what your organization does. And I'm really appreciative that you came here today and shared some of that with us. And with that, I think we can wrap it up. We'll leave it there. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Nick.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. Don't forget to check out Avivo's website at avivomn.org. SRF has been a supporter of Avivo and is currently matching employee donations. Check the description for ways that you too can support this organization. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Unboxed wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow SRF Consulting Group on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll see you in the next episode.